Lily, HR needs to see you. That's how the day started. 6 words, ordinary, chilling. I'd worked at this company in Charlotte, North Carolina for 7 years. No write-ups, no office gossip, just hard work. So when my manager delivered that message without meeting my eyes, my stomach hit the floor. The walk to HR was quiet. My heels tapped against the cold tile, each step heavier than the last. I thought, did I offend someone? Say something wrong in a meeting? Inside, Iris from HR waited. Her smile was cold. She slid a folder across the table. We need to discuss the comment you made during yesterday's strategy call. My breath caught. Comment? She pointed to the transcript. There, highlighted in neon yellow, were vulgar words, an attack on our regional VP, about her looks, her personal life. I didn't say this, I said. This isn't me. I barely spoke in that call. Iris didn't blink. 3 employees heard you. It happened when the video cut out, but the audio captured everything. Check the recording, I insisted. She gave me a hard look. That portion is corrupted. Corrupted. Conveniently. That's when it hit me, this wasn't about a comment. This was about silencing me. 2 weeks earlier, I'd raised questions about our overseas expansion. The numbers didn't add up. My boss, Marissa, gave me a tight smile and said, trust leadership. Ever since, I scold coworkers, locked out emails, and now this character assassination. Then the door opened. Evan Miller, the CEO himself. He stepped in, calm as a storm before it breaks. Actually, he said, that's not why we're here. Iris froze. Evan sat beside me, not across. Miss Daniels has been working directly with my office. What? I hadn't spoken to Evan once in my life. He turned to me. Lily, could you get Lane from legal? Tell her it's time. My legs wobbled as I stood. The door closed behind me. Inside, I saw shadows. Evan leaning forward, Iris recoiling. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. 3rd floor. Conference room D. Lane is waiting. I didn't know it yet, but the trap they set for me was about to snap back on them. What would you do if your entire career was being erased with one forged document? Hit like, comment your state, and tell me, would you have walked into that room? I walked into conference room D with my heart in my throat. A tall woman stood waiting, silver hair, firm handshake, eyes like steel. Lane Perkins, you must be Lily. She didn't waste time. Inside, the blinds were drawn. On the table, a thick folder waited. I imagine you're confused, she said. That's an understatement, I replied. HR just accused me of something I didn't do. Now I'm in a secret meeting with legal. What is happening? Lane leaned back. Let me ask you this, have you noticed anything? Off lately? Off, I've been iced out of meetings, projects reassigned, ever since I flagged issues in our expansion data. Lane nodded. That matches what we've seen. She opened the folder. Inside, emails, reports, names I recognized, Marissa, her inner circle, even a director. The documents showed budget tampering, fake compliance results, falsified safety tests, all hidden from international regulators. My throat closed. This can't be real. It's very real, Lane said, and your name shows up everywhere. My pulse spiked. Why me? Because you noticed too much, she said. You asked questions, they couldn't let that continue. So they tried to smear you first. The fake transcript, that was the insurance policy. If you became a threat, they'd bury you. I stared at the pages, rage climbing up my spine. Then came the bombshell. This operation has been under quiet investigation for months, Lane said. The CEO's been watching. When you spoke up in that meeting, that confirmed everything. Evan's been waiting for the right moment to act. My voice shook. So, what happens now? Lane slid over a document. Now, you help us build the case. I blinked. Me. You've lived it. Your testimony, combined with this evidence, makes it undeniable. My hands trembled as I flipped through the reports again. We're not just talking about jobs, Lane said. We're talking about lives. If Marissa's team pushes these products overseas, untested, people could die. I could barely speak. You're asking me to betray my own boss. I'm asking you to tell the truth. The clock ticked. Loud, final, I nodded slowly. Okay, I'll help, Lane exhaled. Then it begins. Right now, Evan's stalling HR while we collect more. But it's going to get messy. Messy didn't even begin to describe what was coming. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the forged transcript, the yellow highlighter, the trap. And the expression on Iris's face, cold, sure she'd won. She had no idea how wrong she was. Because the next morning, I was going to break into my department's files with the CEO's blessing. And once I saw what Marissa had hidden there, there'd be no turning back. At exactly 10 a.m., I walked into conference room. Elaine was already there, calm and composed. Evan sat at the head of the table, his jacket off, sleeves rolled, looking like a man preparing for war. No small talk, no pleasantries. Lane slid a USB stick across the table. "Plug this in," she said. "We need your access." My hands shook as I picked it up. "Access to what?" "Your department's shared drive, the one Marissa keeps locked under project permissions. You still have secondary clearance." My fingers hovered over the keyboard. "If she finds out I opened these files—" "She will," Evan said. "But by then it won't matter." That kind of certainty, it's terrifying and strangely comforting. I logged in. "Search Asia Compliance," Lane instructed. Dozens of folders popped up. Some were boring budgets, marketing, internal memos. Others were disguised under labels like Archive 2024 and Vendor Notes. "Open that one," she said. I did, and nearly recoiled. There they were, PDFs of lab reports, flammability failures, toxicity levels flagged in red, structural weaknesses circled in warning. "These are the reports I tried to bring up in the meeting," I whispered. Marissa told everyone they were preliminary. "They weren't," Lane said. "They were final." Then I opened one more folder. That's when I saw it. A spreadsheet titled, "Risk Matrix, Market Adaptation Strategy." My stomach turned. I scrolled down. Estimated complaints, injury projections, probable fatalities. Each category was matched with projected revenue gains. They were putting a price tag on deaths. I felt my body go cold. This is sick." Evan leaned in. "It's criminal, fraud, negligence, and if regulators see it—" His voice trailed off. But I understood. "Prison. And my name's all over these files," I whispered. "Because I had access. Because I tried to stop it." "Which is exactly why we need you," Lane said. "You're the only one who can prove you didn't just know, you fought to stop it." I stared at the screen, rage battling fear inside me. "If I do this, she'll destroy me." Evan's voice cut through the silence. "She already tried." He was right. That transcript, that HR ambush, that was her endgame, and now it was mine. I picked up the pen. Lane handed me a whistleblower protection agreement. Legal immunity. Job security. Direct access to the board. "If you sign this," she said, "we start building the full timeline." I signed, and when I did, Lane gave a faint nod. "Good, because tomorrow morning Marissa presents to the board." I blinked. "I'm going to be in the room." Evan stood, straightening his jacket. "As a witness," he said. "You'll confirm what she denies." Tomorrow, everything would change, and I had no idea if I'd walk out of that boardroom a hero or never work again. The next morning, the air in the office was electric, too quiet, too still. I didn't drink my coffee. Couldn't. My hands were shaking too much to hold the cup. At exactly 10 a.m., Lane appeared at my desk. "Boardroom," she said. I followed her through the marble corridors of the executive floor. Past assistants whispering into headsets, past employees who didn't dare meet my eyes. When we entered the boardroom, Marissa was already there. She looked like she owned the building. Cream-colored suit, perfect posture, a soft smile playing on her lips. To her, I didn't exist. She began her presentation with ease, clicking through charts and growth curves. She painted our Asian expansion as a flawless victory in the making. And then she lied. "We are on track to meet all compliance requirements ahead of schedule," she said, gesturing at another polished slide. I watched the board nod slowly. That's when Graham, one of the more senior board members, raised a hand. "And the safety testing?" he asked. "We've heard reports from regional teams expressing concern." Marissa didn't flinch. "Preliminary delays, but subsequent testing confirmed compliance. There's no issue." She delivered the lie so smoothly, it could have passed for truth, until Evan raised his hand. "Before we move on," he said, "we have additional guests." The boardroom doors opened, and 3 strangers walked in. A Japanese regulator, a Taiwanese safety official, a South Korean compliance officer. You could have heard a pin drop. Marissa stiffened. "What a surprise," she said, smiling. "We welcome your insights." But her voice trembled, just slightly. Lane stood. "With the board's permission," she said, "I'd like to present supplemental documents." Evan nodded. "Proceed." Lane plugged in her tablet. The screen behind Marissa flickered and the polished charts disappeared, replaced by a spreadsheet, the risk matrix, the one that weighed fatalities against profit. The room went still. Every face around the table darkened. This, Lane said, is a strategy to bypass safety regulations in multiple regions by releasing products known to be non-compliant. It includes calculated predictions of injuries, fatalities, and financial trade-offs. Gasps. Murmurs, the regulators leaned forward, their expressions grave. "This is a mistake," Marissa said sharply. "I've never seen that file." Lane didn't even flinch. She swiped to another screen. An email chain, one that had Marissa's name in the sender field, discussing how to minimize the fallout from failing safety tests. "This is fake," Marissa snapped. "It's doctored." Lane turned calmly. "Metadata confirms authenticity, as do statements from members of your team." I turned to see Devon, one of Marissa's loyal lieutenants, sitting in the front row. He looked down at the table. Not a word, not a glance toward her. The betrayal was complete. Then Evan turned toward me. "Miss Daniels." I stood, heart racing, hands cold. "You raised these concerns weeks ago, did you not?" Graham asked. I nodded. "Yes, I brought test results to Marissa personally. She dismissed them. Later, I tried to present them during a strategy call, but the feed cut out. Afterwards, someone left a threat on my car windshield, a note telling me to shut up." A ripple of shock moved through the board. Marissa jumped to her feet. "This is a personal attack. She's bitter. She's twisting facts." Lane didn't even blink. "Then explain why your login accessed those documents repeatedly. Server logs confirm it." Marissa opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The silence was louder than anything she could have said. "Security," Evan said. "Escort Miss Marissa Pearson and her associates off the premises, effective immediately." It was done. The woman who tried to ruin me, the woman who put profit over human lives, was being marched out of the building she once ruled. She passed me on the way out. Her eyes met mine, still angry, still proud. But underneath, I saw it. Fear. For the first time, she was afraid of me. The boardroom slowly emptied, like a dam breaking in silence. The regulators took thick folders with them, their expressions like storm clouds. Voices buzzed. Security escorted Marissa and her team down the hallway without ceremony. I stood there, stunned. Not triumphant, just drained. For weeks, I'd been gaslit, undermined, treated like a problem to be erased. Now the truth was out, and I didn't even know how to feel. Lane approached quietly. "You did well," she said. I let out a shaky breath. I thought I might pass out. "But you didn't, and that's what matters." Evan joined us, his expression unreadable. "Miss Daniels," he said, "your courage saved this company from disaster. The board will discuss next steps, but know this, your integrity has been noticed." I nodded, barely able to find words. In the days that followed, word spread fast, first whispers, then headlines, then full-blown gossip. Marissa and her allies were out. Fired, their reputations in tatters. Departments they once controlled became hushed tombs, nobody knew who had been loyal to whom. HR called me back in, but not for discipline this time. Iris, the same HR rep who once handed me a forged transcript, now read a stiff, formal statement acknowledging that the accusations against me were false. She didn't apologize, but I could hear the shame in her voice. I walked out of that office with my head high, but the fallout wasn't clean. A week later, my sister called. "Lily, your name's in the business pages. Some article about corporate corruption. It doesn't name you, but..." She didn't have to finish. I knew. The piece outlined everything: whistleblowing, unsafe products, cover-ups. Commenters called me brave. Others called me a traitor, a troublemaker. That night I sat alone at my kitchen table, staring at the article. Had I destroyed my own future? What company would hire the woman who brought down her own? I didn't sleep much. The next morning, Lane showed up at my desk. "The board wants to see you." I followed her upstairs, nerves like live wires. Inside the boardroom, Graham gestured for me to sit. "Miss Daniels," he said, "you prevented a catastrophe. Your actions protected lives, exposed corruption, and held leadership accountable." He paused. "The board has voted to create a new division, International Compliance and Product Safety. We'd like you to lead it." My mouth fell open. "Lead it?" "You'll report directly to the board," he said. "Independent oversight, real power. We believe you've earned it." I looked to Evan. He nodded once. "Say yes." And I did. What followed were the hardest months of my life, rebuilding trust, reviewing hundreds of files, implementing anonymous reporting systems. I became the person I wish I'd had when this all began. Employees started stopping me in hallways, whispering thank yous, smiling in quiet solidarity. And then, one night, long after sunset, as I sat in my new corner office overlooking the city, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, one line. You were right, I was wrong, I'm sorry. No signature, but I knew, Marissa. I stared at the message. Let it sit there. Let the silence speak for me, because some apologies come too late. That night I told my sister everything. She listened, then asked softly, "So, was it worth it?" I thought of the fear, the betrayal, the sleepless nights, and I thought of the spreadsheet, the one that turned lives into dollar signs, and I answered, yes, because sometimes the only thing standing between corruption and catastrophe is one person who refuses to stay silent, like if you felt the justice. Comment your city. Have you ever faced betrayal at work? Subscribe for more stories where the villains always get what they deserve.